These are 15 essential things to do after installing Ubuntu 22.04 Jammy Jellyfish. The timecodes are available in the description and in the first pinned comment under this video. Let's get started. Ubuntu 22.04 has a lot of improvement in its visual appearance. So there is a new Yaru theme, and there is also an extended customization options available in the settings. If you go to the settings, in the appearance tab, you will be able to switch between two types of themes, light one and the dark one. And personally, I think the dark theme looks much better, and this is my favorite theme. I'm surprised it is not selected by default. Also, you can choose what accent color would you prefer. This is a default one, but I really like this one in the dark mode. So to me, this theme looks very nice, as you can see here. There are some other options which you are welcome to explore. Personally, I prefer to change the desktop icon position. By default it is in the bottom right, but I prefer to have a classical top left corner for the icon's location. There are also some options to make some customization to the dock. I think the default layout with the left panel mode is fine, but you of course can change its position. For example, you can place the dock to the bottom and switch to the dock mode from the panel mode. So you will have something like macOS-like layout in your Ubuntu. But as I said, I prefer the classical Ubuntu layout with a full panel on the left. As a second thing to do after installing Ubuntu 22.04, I recommend to check for additional drivers. If you go to the menu, you will find additional driver up here. Click on it, and it will automatically scan your hardware and try to detect any available drivers for your system. As you can see, I have a list of drivers here. By default, I have open source driver installed, and usually this driver works fine. But I still recommend you to try the proprietary driver. Sometimes proprietary driver works better. So in my case, I have installed this driver, NVIDIA 510 driver, which is the latest one, and it seems like this driver works better with Wayland. So try the open source and proprietary driver for some time and see which one works better on your system, and then stick to that driver. As I have shown in my Ubuntu 22.04 review, Firefox is a snap app in Ubuntu, and unfortunately it is little slower than the original Firefox, and it is also not fully integrated in the desktop. So if you use Firefox, I recommend you to install the original Firefox from the Mozilla website, which will work little faster and it will be fully integrated into your desktop. And to do that, you just need to go to the Mozilla webpage for the Firefox installation for Linux. Here's the instruction, and you need to go to the latest option, which is called for advanced users, but don't get scared, I will show you, it's very straightforward to install it. First we need to download Firefox. We'll open this in a new tab, download it. So it has been downloaded now in our downloads folder. So now we need to navigate to this downloads folder. We will copy this command, open the terminal. Let me zoom in a bit. Let's do it this way. So we will have all the commands here. Ctrl-Shift-V to paste this command. So now we are in the downloads folder where our Firefox is downloaded. So next we need to extract this archive. We will copy this command, paste it here. So now the Firefox is extracted in the Firefox folder. And the last thing we need to do is to move this folder to the OTP folder. Okay, permission denied. This means we need to use sudo to do that. So now we have moved it, and we need to create a symbolic link as specified here. Okay, again, we need to write sudo in front of this command. Done. So now Firefox is installed, but we still need to download the desktop file for this newly installed Firefox. For that we will copy this wget command and run it. Okay, you see it again complains that it cannot save this file into our directory because we need sudo rights for that, so we will run it with sudo. So all the commands listed here basically you need to run with the sudo command, starting from the step 4. By the way, you will find all this instruction also as a text version in the corresponding article on averagelinuxuser.com. The link will be provided in the description. So to run it, we can copy this command, paste this command in the terminal. So as you can see, Firefox has started as a separate application. This is the Snap app, and this is the regular Firefox which we installed from the Mozilla website. If you prefer to use this Firefox, and this is what I recommend, you need to right-click here and add it to favorites, while you can right-click here and remove the Snap version from your favorites. You can also move it to the top. Now we can close this non-Snap version and use the regular Firefox here. This Firefox will start faster, and it will also be better integrated in your desktop, as you will see in the later steps on things to do after installing this Ubuntu 22.04 Jammy Jellyfish. I learned Linux by using it, and I believe that learning interactively is the best way to gain knowledge. It is also a lot of fun. That's why I would like to recommend you the sponsor of this video, Brilliant. Brilliant.org delivers the very best interactive courses in math, science and computer science. For example, if you are interested in computer science, Brilliant will help you to understand the basics with simple problems like drone navigation by programming arrows. And you can progress to more advanced topics such as neural network programming to recognize handwriting. This is exactly what I am doing right now. I tried the courses on computer science fundamentals and probability fundamentals. Both courses are great, and I like how all the concepts are presented in these courses, but they are too simple for me. Then I tried courses on neural networks, and it is exactly what I need. I enjoy solving these questions and learning how artificial neural networks work. Usually I answer questions correctly, and when I do mistakes, Brilliant helps me to learn from these mistakes. Try Brilliant yourself. Sign up for free using the link in the description. The first 200 people using this link will also get 20% discount on annual premium membership. After Firefox installation, I recommend to go to its settings and make some adjustments which will make the usage of Firefox much more comfortable. Go to the Firefox. Yes, we can set it as our default browser. Go to the settings. And here I recommend to enable the option to open previously closed tabs. And another option I recommend you to enable if you scroll down. Here you have the option to enable play DRM controlled content. If you watch Netflix on your Firefox, for example, this is a must-have option because otherwise Netflix videos will not play on your Firefox. So just enable it and you will be able to watch Netflix in the Firefox from your Ubuntu. Another thing I complained about in my Ubuntu 22.04 review was that there is no option to minimize on dock click. For example, if I open an application and I click on the icon in the dock, it doesn't minimize. I really don't like this behavior, and unfortunately there is no option in the settings to enable this. But you can enable it through the terminal, and there is also an option to install some additional app and do it through the graphical interface, but I recommend you to go through the terminal way. It's actually very straightforward. You just need to run this command, which I will provide in the corresponding article on averagelinuxuser.com. The link will be available in the description. And now, you see, it minimizes and maximizes on a click in the dock, which I think is more intuitive behavior. I am surprised it is disabled by default. Even if you have enabled installation of the third-party software during the Ubuntu installation process, it still has not installed everything. For example, some Codecs and Microsoft fonts are not installed, but you can easily install them if you execute this command in your terminal. Just run sudo apt install Ubuntu restricted extras. Say yes, and it will install all the essential codecs to play most of the popular media formats and Microsoft fonts. For example, here it suggests us to accept the license for Microsoft fonts. To do that, you need to click the Tab key on your keyboard and press Enter on your keyboard after the OK key is activated. Here you use the arrow keys on your keyboard to select yes if you want to accept these licenses, but I think you can also do not accept it, but I usually accept it every time. The installation takes quite some time, so you need to be patient. After you have all these packages installed on your computer, you will be able to play all popular media formats, and if you open LibreOffice, you will also find such fonts as Arial, Comic Sans, like Times New Roman, which are known as Microsoft fonts. So your LibreOffice will have better compatibility with Microsoft Office documents. But if you want to get even more compatibility with Microsoft Office documents, I have a dedicated video on how to achieve that. It is available here in the card, and I will also provide a link to it in the description of this video. Install GNOME extensions. As you may know, Ubuntu uses GNOME 42 as its desktop environment, and GNOME is highly customizable thanks to its extensions. It includes some of the extensions pre-installed in Ubuntu, such as this dock. It is an extension. But if you want to install more extensions in your Ubuntu, you need to enable that option. I don't know why, but it is not activated by default. And to do that, you need to perform 3 key steps. First, open the terminal and install the package which is called Chrome GNOME Shell. After the installation, go to the website extensions.gnome.org, and here you'll be offered to install the extension for your Firefox, which will enable the integration of your Firefox on your desktop, and as you will see in the next step, you will be able to install any of these extensions through your Firefox. But pay attention, if you are using Snap version of Firefox, this option will not work, as I have shown in my Ubuntu 22.04 review. So let's click here, continue to installation, add, OK, reload this page. So you see this message has disappeared. It means that the add-on has been installed successfully, and we should be able to install any extension from this list. I don't know what we can install. Let's go to OpenWeather. This is what I often use as an example, and you just need to enable it here. Install. Now it has been installed. As you can see, it's located here, and you can check the forecast in your location using this very nice app. So basically you can stop here, but I recommend to do one more step. If you open the Software Center and search for extensions, you will find this app, which allows you to manage all your extensions in one place. Basically, it shows all the installed extensions on your computer, which helps to have an overview of them, and it also gives you an option to disable some of them. Now, if you go to the menu, here's the app, and as you can see, there is a list of installed extensions, including our OpenWeather extension, which we have just installed. You can just disable it here if you want, and you can also open the settings of these extensions and some other extensions, which, as you can see here, are built-in in Ubuntu. So now you will be able to customize your desktop with plenty of extensions which are available on the website extensions.gnome.org. Install GNOME Tweaks. GNOME Tweaks is another useful app which helps you to customize your GNOME desktop even more. Go to the Software Center and search for GNOME Tweaks. Here it is, and install it. Let's open it. It's called Tweaks, and you can explore all the options available here. For example, there is an option to install additional themes besides the default Yarrow theme in your GNOME desktop. I have a dedicated video where I show step by step how to install additional themes in your Ubuntu and make it look anything you want. Please watch that video. You can also adjust some fonts here, do some tweaks to your mouse and keyboard, add any startup application if you want. You can also adjust the top bar here, and you can also change the location of Windows buttons, for example here. By default they are located on the right, but personally I prefer to have them on the left, so I will switch to the left here. And there are some other settings which you are welcome to explore. I believe you will find some of them really useful. So thanks to GNOME extensions and GNOME Tweaks app, you will be able to make your Ubuntu look like anything you want. Configure Hi-DPI screen. If you're using Hi-DPI screen, Ubuntu should recognize it by default and scale appropriately. If it doesn't, you can manually do that adjustment. Go to the settings, displays, and here enable fractional scaling. After you have done that, the scale option will change here and you will be able to select different scaling options. Choose the one which works the best for you, then click apply, and you will see if it looks fine on your screen or not. If it doesn't, you can just revert to the previous settings. I don't use Hi-DPI screen, so I will not enable this option. Enable night light. Night light reduces the amount of blue light on your screen at night time. This is very useful option if you prefer to work at night, and I highly recommend you to enable it. It will help to reduce the strain of your eyes, and it should also help you to easily fall asleep after you work late at night, as I usually do. This option is available again in the Displays tab. There is a Night Light tab, you go here, and you just need to enable. I think the default settings work fine, but if you don't like some of them, you can also adjust the color temperature, and you can also set a custom time when you want this option to be activated. In my Ubuntu 22.04 review, I also complained that Cheese, the default app which is supposed to work with your webcam in Ubuntu, doesn't work correctly on my hardware. So as an alternative, I use Guvcview, which works fine. If you experience the same issue, I recommend you to install Guvcview. It is a little better application for the webcam. To install it, just go to the Software Center and search for Guvcview. You will have two options here. One of them is a regular option, it's a Debian package, and another one is a Snap version. Again, I'm not a big fan of Snap apps, so I recommend you to install the Deb version. Install it here. Search for it in the menu. And hopefully it will work with your camera much better than the Cheese app. Setup Firewall. As I said in my video, do I need a firewall on Linux? I think it is not essential to have a firewall on Linux, but it's better to be safe than sorry. So I recommend you to activate Linux Firewall. And in Ubuntu you can easily do it with a graphical application. Just go to the Software Center and search for the app which is called Guvcview and install this application. After the installation, open it from the menu. You will need to enter your password to open it and just enable it. The default settings to deny incoming and allow outgoing connections are fine for most users. If you want to learn more how to use Linux Firewall, including this application, I recommend you to watch my dedicated video on Linux Firewall. The link will be available in the description, and you can also click on this card here. Check the Xorg session. Ubuntu 22.04 uses Wayland as a desktop window manager. If you go to your About page in the settings, you will see that it uses Wayland by default. Although Wayland works pretty well, at least on my hardware it worked fine, it also works very well in VirtualBox. It's possible that on your hardware it may not work perfectly, or maybe there are some programs which do not work very well with Wayland yet. If you experience any of those issues, I just want to let you know that there is an option to switch to Xorg, which was the previous Windows manager of Ubuntu, which works a little more stable than Wayland. To do that, you just need to click Logout and log out from your session. Click on your username, and here you will see this settings icon, and if you click on it, you will be able to switch between the default Wayland session and the Xorg session. Just select the Xorg session, type your password and log in. You can also check if you are still using Wayland or Xorg in the settings in the About page, and as you can see, now I use X11 Windows system, which is the same as Xorg, but previously it was Wayland. So explore these so I just want you to know about these two options. In case you experience any problems with Vagrant, you can always revert to Xorg. Enable battery percentage. By default, you only have this small battery icon which indicates how much battery left on your computer, but if you're like me and you prefer to have the exact number of how much battery is left, you may want to enable the percentage for your battery, which can be easily done in Ubuntu. Just go to the settings, scroll to the power tab, and here you will find an option, show battery percentage. Just activate it and you will see that now your battery also shows the percentages. Install Ubuntu-Cleaner. This is a very useful app which helps you to keep your Ubuntu clean by removing some unnecessary files. To install it, you need to open the terminal and add the repository of this app to your Ubuntu. Again, I will provide this command in the description. Press enter. So now the repository is added. We need to refresh the list of the software available on our Ubuntu. To do that, we type sudo apt update. After the update, we need to install Ubuntu-Cleaner. Install it. And it should be available in our menu after the installation. Here it is. This is a very simple app which allows you to clean, for example, Firefox cache, some personal files. You should be careful with cleaning old kernel and package configs. So what I recommend you to do, just remove what you are sure about it, and if you are not sure, do not touch it. For example, if I check my Firefox, basically it is almost freshly installed system, so there is not much to clean. But after you use your system for a long time, there will be a lot of things you can clean and get some free space on your Ubuntu. I hope these 15 things to do after installing Ubuntu 22.04 would greatly improve your Ubuntu experience. Don't forget to check out the sponsor of this video, Brilliant, the link is available in the description. And thank you for watching.